Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl, BrittReacts, and today we're going to react to Elon Musk pleading for people to vote like their life depends on it, and he speaks on why he became politically active. This is from the Joe Rogan podcast.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
And it's meant to be that you're roasting the president. Like, Trump's just there. He's like, actually, he's like there as part of the support. And then they turned it around and just started roasting Trump. And he's just sitting there. He's like, yo, I just came to the dinner. I'm just here to support.
You know what it was because of, right? The birther stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what it all was. It was all, Trump was at the head of a lot of these people spreading this rumor online that Obama's birth certificate was forged, that he's actually from Kenya. And what's weird is, if you go back to Obama's early days, there are some things that say he's from Kenya. Like, I think in his, something from college said he was from Kenya. But, that could just be, people print things wrong all the time. It doesn't mean he's actually from Kenya. But Trump was one of those guys that was like spreading that supposedly false rumor.
Was he pushing it hard? I'm not. This is the kind of thing where I want to just go and look at saying what did he actually say?
No, he definitely was.
Okay.
He definitely was.
Look, I don't think he has the time to go into things like very deeply.
Yeah.
And so I think he could probably be influenced by a bunch of people, like these Marjorie Taylor Greene type people who come to him with some wild ass theory.
Sure.
He might be, and I think there's a lot of that stuff that gets fed to people on purpose so that they'll say incorrect things so that they're easy to dismiss.
This is clearly before the election and all that stuff, and before the video I reacted to yesterday. I think it's interesting. I wonder how Elon would respond now to this conversation that Joe is having with him about the whole birth certificate thing with, because Elon kind of is like, oh, okay, like he doesn't know a lot about it. He questioned it, like, was he really? And Joe's like, no, he really was. And he's like, oh, okay. And then Joe just said something that I have said before, and some of you disagreed, and that's fine. But Donald Trump does feel like someone that you could just give information to him, and if it is something useful to him, he himself is not going to go do a ton of digging. He's just going to use that information in whatever way that it can benefit him and stand 10 toes down on it. Like, that's my take. Say what you want. But again, it's interesting because Joe said that, and then Elon said, right. And so now I think, we have a different version of Elon who is like freaking frack with the president. And I just wonder how he would respond to this opening, or it's an opening for me, but this part of this interview. Okay, let's keep going.
On purpose so that they'll say incorrect things so that they're easy to dismiss.
Sure.
And I think there's also a lot of people that just make shit up, and they tell you the earth is flat, and then a bunch of people watch a YouTube video and they believe it.
Yeah, well, but on that White House Correspondents'
That's about anything, though.
The degree to which they attacked Trump at that White House Correspondents' Dinner was really, it was so over the top. It was like making everyone uncomfortable.
Really?
It was really over the top. I think like sort of a passing joke of like, a few passing jokes are fine, but they twisted the knife big on Trump in that. And you could see Trump just getting like angrier and angrier and more upset.
I wonder if that's
and it's like, man, this is not good karma, That's what I was thinking at the time. I was two tables away from Trump, and I'm looking at him like, man, this is too much,
Okay, I did not look to see when this was filmed, and I'm going to look right now. It doesn't have a date on when this interview. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it does. November 4th, 2024. So this is right before the election. This is kind of the end of the campaign trail, yada, yada, yada. And there are some chapters here, so I'm going to skip a little bit. But I don't know. I do think this is interesting. So he's talking about the White House Correspondents' Dinner that they have. And they do typically poke fun at a lot of people in that room. But Elon's take is that they went a little harder on Trump than anybody else, and it felt like they were twisting the knife, I think is the phrase he used. Okay, I'm gonna let him finish about this. And really the only reason I wanted to watch this is because I wanted to hear his take on why he became politically involved. I have mentioned this, asked this, wondered this in almost every video I've watched about Elon Musk, because to me, he was a tech guy. He was someone that was in the advancement of technology and, you know, cars and space and all that stuff. And to me, it seemed like out of nowhere he got involved politically. And so I, again, want to hear from the horse's mouth why that was. So we're going to wrap up this White House correspondent stuff, and then I'm going to skip to 6 minutes and 34 seconds. And that's where it says he explains why he became politically involved. Because again, that's why I'm here. If you want to watch the whole thing, it's episode 2223 on the Joe Rogan podcast channel. All right, let's get back into it.
Well, it's kind of crazy what they made out of that, because that's the kind of guy that if you tell him he can't do something, he's going to just keep trying.
Right.
It was a big mistake to rag on him so much at that White House Correspondents' Center.
Well, just look at the way they've attacked him with just using the legal system, like this thing in New York where the 34 different felony counts that were essentially misdemeanors, that there are bookkeeping errors that they decided, even though it passed the statute of limitations, they decided to try him for these.
Okay, this is just me asking an honest question as someone who's not in law. How, he just said they're felonies, but then Joe said, but they're essentially misdemeanors. How does that work? Like how do they classify them as felonies if they're only misdemeanors? Someone please answer my question. I genuinely want to know. That
they decided, even though it passed the statute of limitations, they decided to try him for these. They didn't identify a felony.
Abuse of the law is what's going on.
But most people would have quit. Yeah. Most people, after the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit and this lawsuit and all the other ones, the insurrection thing, the Georgia thing, all these different things.
Stormy
getting
Daniels
kicked off
thing.
of Twitter. Most people would have just like, this is too much. I can't take this. But he's so fucking crazy. He's like, all right, come on, we're going to war. And he just digs his fucking heels in and keeps going.
Yeah.
It's the wrong guy to do that to.
I agree with that.
Attacking him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, most people would have been humiliated. He got angry. And he's like, yeah, all right. You say I can't be president? I've been thinking about running for about 15 fucking years.
Yeah, I agree with this too. So I guess my question is, which White House Correspondents' Dinner are they referring to? If I had to guess, I would think the last one in Obama's administration, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I don't know. Anyway, someone answer that for me. I do agree with that. I think Donald Trump is the type of person that you agitate him, you alienate him, anything, you're putting a battery in his back. You are not stopping him. It's just the type of person he is. Like, you say no, he's like a toddler in that way, where like I tell my toddler, like, don't touch that, and he's gonna look me in my eye and like touch it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the personality that he is. And it's like, the more people try to tell him to act a certain way or tell him to do a certain thing, is the more he's gonna go to the exact opposite of that. I just agree with that. I don't think it's a right or a wrong. I think it's just a personality trait that some people have. Some people think it's narcissistic. I think that he wouldn't be Donald Trump, the like hotel mogul and multi-cajillionaire or whatever, if he wasn't that way. I don't know if I think it makes for a great humanitarian or a great like morally conscious person, but it makes for something. So anyway, all right. So we're going to wrap that up and move over to why Elon decided to be politically involved.
See, I view this election as a turning point, like a fork in the road of destiny that is incredibly important. I've not been politically active until this election. And the reason I've been politically active this election is because I think if we don't elect Trump, I think we will lose we will lose democracy in this country. We will lose the two-party system, and let me explain why. So there's only like six or seven swing states. The margin of victory in those states is small, often like 10 or 20,000 votes. What the Democrat administration has been doing is importing vast numbers of illegals into swing states. You can look at the numbers on the actual government website, meaning you don't take my word for it. You'll just look at the numbers as reported by the government, which is controlled by the Democrats. And what we're seeing is triple-digit increases in the number of illegals in every swing state. In some cases, 700% increases. These are gigantic numbers. So if you have a state that has a 10 or 20,000 vote margin, and you put 200,000 illegals into that state, you 10x you swamp the. It's not a swing state anymore. It's going to vote blue, and then once the swing states vote blue, there is no election anymore. There's only a Democrat primary,
which is so crazy, and it's so crazy that people are fine with that.
Okay, that is. It's a take. I am so intrigued by the fact that this man can go from like his accent to like a more American. It's like so interesting to me. I don't know why I'm so intrigued at it. He also has a way of talking like this. I don't know. Y'all know stuff like that is intriguing to me. So if I'm to understand correctly, Elon is saying that he felt compelled to involve himself politically to save democracy because in his viewpoint of things, the Democrats who were in charge up until January when Trump got inaugurated back into office, the Democratic Party was pumping illegal immigrants into swing states being the states that like the pendulum kind of swings, like it's never definitely red or definitely blue. It can go either way depending on factors. And so they were pushing these immigrants into these places, and somehow they were able to swing the vote blue. I guess my question is, how can illegal people vote? I'm asking seriously. I'm never asking to be like sarcastic. I don't know a lot of things, and I watch these videos with you guys to learn them. And do I take everything from the Joe Rogan podcast or The View or Bill Maher or anyone and just think their point of view and what they're saying is correct? Absolutely not. There is not a podcast on this planet that I'm going to get my information from and run with it, but it does allow me to open my mind. Okay? So relax. All right. I'm not sourcing or citing this. I'm just repeating back what I'm hearing. And it's the same thing of like me listening to you tell me not to listen to them. Everybody calm down. But that is what I guess he's saying. I don't know if he answered the question of why that made him. So he's saying he wanted to step in to stop this from happening, I guess was his why. His why was because he saw it happening. And so he feels that his presence and perhaps his I don't know, does his money have anything to do with it? I'm going to keep listening, even though it says this chapter is over where he talks about this. But I would love to hear what you all have to say about the matter. I guess I just don't really have clarity on his why. And he's saying, okay, so here's the other thing. He's like, it's on the website, the government website, that this is happening. But now this is a man who is also clearing out all these government agencies and telling us they've been lying to us and hiding things. So how do we know that we're to believe the numbers on a government website? Do you understand what I'm saying? I just like, when it's on the other side of things, it's one thing, but then as soon as it's on something, I struggle. This is why I don't trust nobody but Jesus. They're all lying.
Which is so crazy. And it's so crazy that people are fine with that.
Well, I guess people on the left will be fine with that because they think that's a good idea.
Well, they just want to win. They just want to win.
Correct. Like the thing is, one does not need actually any ground conspiracy theory for this. You just have to look at the simple matter of incentives. If the Democrat Party wants to win, like basically achieve permanent victory, all they need to do is turn the swing states. Turn the swing states blue. They have permanent victory. And then we're a one-party state, and then they will keep doing that. Obviously, they will keep stacking the deck by bringing in vast numbers of illegals into the swing states. Keep stacking it so that the next election, each successive election, will be worse than the last one. And that's what's happening. And if you want to see, like, well, is this actually going to happen? Look at California. California is supermajority Dem, 70% Dem. A month ago, they passed a law making it illegal
Hello.
to show ID in any election in California. So,
What?
so a friend of mine went to vote in Palo Alto because he was like, "Is this for real?" He tried to show his ID, and they reacted like if you show a cross to a vampire. Okay, they're like, "No, we can't even look at that ID." It is illegal for them to even look at your ID if you want to present it in California.
Why?
For any election at all, even like city council.
What logical reason other than to cheat would you ever have that law?
The reason is to cheat.
But the only
Obviously.
it's only like you can never make an argument any other way. And I think 84% of people polled believe that you should show ID to vote. So it's against the will of the people.
Yes. And
That sounds insane to me. That sounds insane. So I can just show up and write down anyone's name. It's so funny. Yesterday I was in Old Navy, literally, and I put in my phone number for my points, and some name like Paulina popped up, and I was laughing with the girls behind the register because she was like, "Do you qualify for a credit card? Do you want to open up a credit card?" I was like, "Can I do it in Paulina's name?" Like joking around. It's like, that's it. Literally, how easy that. I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you need somebody? Okay, somebody explain this to me in the comments. I definitely understand the chapter that they just finished talking was called conspiracy theories, and I'm not understanding if that is a conspiracy or if that is actually fact. If it's fact, it is wildly undemocratic. It's just weird. Also, like, all right, here's the other thing I wanted to say, and then I'm just going to be done with this, and I'll let you guys talk to me in the comments kindly. Some of y'all like to throw around your opinions like it is law, and honestly, chill out. Like, bro, take a chill pill. I am not here to be agreeable. I'm just here to start conversation, bro. Like, chill out. But the last thing I want to say is, like, as someone who, and I said this in my last video, like, who really hasn't listened to Elon a ton speak, and you kind of only see him pop up with these very grabby headlines, and they make him this, like, they almost, it feels like they almost caricaturize him the same way they do Trump. And then you hear him talk, and he sounds very even keel, level-headed, just kind of like, okay, here are my facts. And so I don't know, that's just an observation that I'm making, is like, I do believe, right, there is right-wing media and left-wing media. I totally understand the concept of that, and I do think that, you know, the media does a good job of inflating personality, I think, to villainize. Not to say he is or isn't a villain. That's just as someone who really has not listened to this man speak a ton. But you see all these clips on social media of him like dancing and like, whoa! And it's like, but he doesn't even seem like that's really who he is. So maybe that's why it's so cringy and uncomfortable to watch, because he's like exerting himself when he's really just this like introverted, level-headed guy. I don't know. These again are just thoughts. I'm watching and I'm reacting on the spot. Let's remember that, friends, okay? As always, keep it cute or put it on mute. If you can't be kind, get out of my comments. There's no space for that. I'm open and welcoming all perspectives, opinions, and everything, but I do not and will not tolerate unkindness, okay? Remember that. Be kind to yourself and others, and go and have the day you deserve. Bye.